Good morning, everyone. This is the 18th day of December in the year 2021, and we are glad to see you. Today's 19th. It is the 19th. Yesterday was the 18th. Time moves so fast, it's hard for me to keep moving up, to keep up. But anyway, we're having a beautiful day here in San Juan County. It's kind of chilly this morning. When we started earlier, it said it was 19 degrees. But it's warmed up some. The skies are clear and it's just shiny and beautiful. So we have no snow for our holiday season as of yet. And I don't know if we have any on the horizon either, but this is pretty typical of a Christmas season here in San Juan County over the last few years.
I have some on the ground, which made Amaray absolutely thrilled because obviously in Midland, she doesn't get any snow at all.
Yeah.
So she likes to play in it and it's really shady out there. So it'll stay a while.
Underneath your trees. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. We have an exciting program for everyone today. We have Jenny Jones is going to be our reader. Frederick Brown is going to play us some beautiful music. And from Northern Kentucky, Mark Wolf is going to give us our primary message. And he always gives good message. Now, the thing about Mark today, however, we're going to be able to hear him, but he is having video difficulties today. So we are not going to be able to see him. We're going to have to just use our imagination. And that's kind of hard because Mark is a real demonstrative person who moves around and has great facial expressions and things. And that's a big part of his presentation. So we will just have to use our imagination and remember how Mark has talked to us in earlier times. So would someone like to volunteer to start us off with a prayer?
Carol? No.
Margaret, would you give us a prayer?
Yeah, I just joined. Tell me.
Do you want to well, hold on. Let me give you a moment to adjust. Also, I need to tell everyone before we pray that Neva, Don called me this morning. Neva had to be taken to the hospital in an ambulance this morning because her heart was misbehaving. She has AFib problems with her heart, and Dawn was not able to get the numbers to line up this morning and she was having some difficulty. So he called the ambulance and they took her in. Currently the hospital's on lockdown and they won't even let him go into the hospital with her. So, and he hadn't heard anything at that time. This was at 8:30. But hopefully she will be fine, but we need to keep her in our prayers today for sure. Okay. With that in mind, now would you like to pray for us, Margaret, or no?
Yeah, but tell me why Mark isn't here.
Mark is here. His picture is, he is not, there's no video. He has no video.
Oh,
That's just what I was trying to explain, that we're not going to see him, but we will be able to hear him.
okay. All right. Then I'll pray and not worry.
There you go.
Dear God, ever expanding, ever extending unconditional love. Thank you that you're always here with us and that we have a chance to gather with others who also love you and love us and worship together in ways that help us grow and strengthen and discover that you are love. In the spirit of Christ consciousness, amen.
Thank you, Margaret. I was taught years ago that I could either worry or pray, but the two are in opposition, and you can't do the same at the same time, because if you pray, God's got it in his hands and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay. So that's really good. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Do we have announcements, Jerry? Nothing. We will be having a board meeting, but it will be the third Sunday this month because next Sunday is Christmas. And so we moved it along to a third Sunday. And we
That's the date.
also,
In January, third Sunday in January.
January, that's right. Not
Yes,
this month,
okay.
January, that's right. So, right, but we had discussed it and came up that we're gonna make a decision when to open or try to open the church at that meeting. So we will not be doing in-person meetings until at least the middle of January. And that is to let the COVID count maybe to go down. And even if there's some risen numbers during the holiday, that will give them a little bit of time to calm down also. So, okay. So, Fred, are you ready to sing for us?
I can certainly try.
Well, I know you'll do a good job. I need to mute everyone first.
Go ahead.
Okay, Fred, now you can unmute.
Right on. Hello.
Ready to go.
So today, I was digging through the book this morning. I had some ideas of song, but you know, I'm a capricious individual. Found something I wanted to play, so it's a Bob Marley song. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying, one love. Hear the children crying, one heart. Saying, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Saying, let's get together and feel alright. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let them all pass their dirty remarks. One love, there is one question I'd really love to ask. One heart, is there a place for that hopeless sinner? Oh, who has hurt all of mankind just to save his own skin? Believe me, one love, hear the children crying, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, one love, so shall it be in the end, one heart. Alright, and give thanks, praise to the Lord, and it will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. One love, so when the man comes, there will be no more doom. One heart, there is one place for us to live together. We gotta try and fight for that which is right. One love, oh, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, one love, so it shall be in the end, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and it will feel alright. I said, let's get together and we'll feel alright. There you go.
Thank you,
Love.
Mark. You know, Fred, you know, I was just thinking that you must have had some past lives in the Caribbean, because you can do a Bob Marley impression about as well as anybody I've ever heard. Really good. So, Mark Wolf, moved away from us a couple of years ago. Wait a minute. No, we got Jenny. Jenny's going to do a reading first. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jenny. Go ahead.
All right. The first one is from, this is a Unity book. The Unity people send me these meditation books all the time, which I really appreciate. So for today, it's the fourth day in Advent, fourth Sunday, excuse me, in Advent. And this is what it says. I think I was like many children, captivated by the enchantment of Christmas season. I loved it all. The music, the decorations, the coming vacation from school, and the ebullient energy all around me. And of course, the fevered countdown to Christmas morning. Happy and joyous, I loved the magic and hopeful energy that seemed to be everywhere and in everyone. As much as I wanted Christmas to arrive, I wanted the holiday spirit to last all year long. By Christmas Eve, I was jittery with excitement, almost too wide-eyed and eager to sleep, but it was all joyous. The lights, the candles, the colors, the music, the sweet treats, even the sublime torment of feeling as though December 25th would never arrive. Each year, the anticipation was utterly enthralling, and the magic of Christmas filled me with joy. And then I grew up. Christmas was still coming, but now I had to fit it in around a galaxy of other activities and obligations. Before long, I discovered I was just going through the motions of mindlessly getting ready, no longer enchanted by the sights and sounds, the lights and colors. Not surprisingly, I had lost my joy. In childhood, I desperately wanted the Christmas season to speed up. In adulthood, I just as desperately wished it would slow down. But there was joy in the anticipation I felt as a child, and that joy was nowhere to be found in the frantic race to the finish I felt as an adult. I wanted to reclaim my joy. I realized this was possible when I remained fully present to and accepting of everything that came my way, listening to my favorite Christmas music and gazing upon the decorations lighting the night sky filled me with joy. But surprisingly, staying present to that which annoyed or frustrated me, long lines in stores, delays at airports, botched recipes, sometimes made me temporarily unhappy, but no longer robbed me of my joy. It's amazing how blithely and effortlessly kids get so much right, so much of the time. They have taught me a priceless lesson about getting ready for Christmas, namely, how much joy can be found in anticipation. Now I don't just enjoy it, I savor it. Mindful anticipation is a great gift, the present of presents. As you savor it, your joy abounds. And the quote is from Psalms 118, verse 24. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And so the theme for today is joy. And the quote for this day of Advent is, I remember to savor the joy of anticipation. Now, winter solstice is Tuesday, and my eldest granddaughter turns 21 on that day. So here's a winter solstice reading as well. The night breathes slow, deep, long. The breath of the earth moves up to meet the stars. Slow down, dear one, slow down, breathe. The dark has its own music. The dark has its own spell. The dark is the breath that unclenches, bringing sweetness to our deeps. Be as the sleeping mountains. In the rhythm of your patience, the world will be revealed. In the drumbeat of our hearts, all the lessons of the year will tell their stories. Winter is stillness. It is deep, calm, and it is huge. Carry your candle, yes, but do not let it blind you to the radiance of the dark. Do not let it crowd out the silence. Do not let it defeat the music of heartbeat, breath, starlight, humanity. We turn the wheel of the year. We are time unfolding, seasons following seasons flowing through us, bodies, hearts, minds. We walk through the grace of the year and our wholeness is revealed. We walk through the wisdom of the seasons and learn ever more how to love what we love. That's it. Namaste.
Thank you, Jenny.
You're
Thank you very much. And now we will have Mark Wolf to talk to us about his message today. And I'm going to put just, I thought about maybe just putting different people up there in the time. I think that'll be a little confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Mark's screen up there. He won't be there, but it'll help us to focus maybe on his voice and pay attention to what he is saying rather than what he looks like. So it'll be really good. So Mark, you can go ahead and begin as you want to. Thank you.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. This is funny because we're going to do the radio version today, and I'm always honored to be your guest speaker. But today's very special because we're going to do not the 2021 version, but we're all going to cluster around the radio and pretend it's 1941. But first, the presence of the COVID virus has brought changes into our lives, and changes that we did not expect, and certainly changes we did not plan for. And we've been challenged in so many different ways. And so this morning, I want to start out by acknowledging and recognizing the way that all of you have risen to the challenge to keep the church alive during these very difficult days. And I believe that it's your courage and commitment and creativity that have made the difference. The thing of it is that kind of courage and creativity and commitment have made this ministry of Fellowship of Spirit a channel for the Creator's light and healing and blessing during the time that it was most needed. And it's that consciousness that will take this ministry of Fellowship of Spirit into the future to continue to bring blessings and light into the world. Now, I don't know if we got the memo or not. I just got the memo a couple of days ago. This is the last Sunday before Christmas. What's up with that? I want to bring you a very special Christmas message. I asked the light what the message should be, and I was not getting an answer. And then during my morning meditation a few days ago, the message and the title appeared complete in my mind, and it's that message I want to share with you this morning. The title is Shepherds and Wise Men and Santa Claus, It Must Be Christmas. And as Jenny just read in the spiritual reading, I want to talk about how to keep the spirit of Christmas alive all year. Because we talk about that. We want to do that. We just talk about, well, we got to keep the spirit of Christmas alive all year. So went out and did a survey out in front of the Farmington Library. You did a survey of people coming out, and you did a survey. So what do you think you need to do to keep the spirit of Christmas alive all year? What would you hear? What would people say? Say, well, it's the snow. I just love the snow. I just love a white Christmas. Right. So we want to keep snow all year. Is that what we're saying? Yeah, right. Exactly. I lived up in Durango for 11 years, and I shoveled enough snow that I don't ever need to see snow again. And so you just ask somebody else and they say, well, it's the beautiful Christmas music. Okay, so that's fine. It's the Christmas music we want to keep all year. But let me tell you something. Try singing Jingle Bells in July. So it's July. It's only 5 more months until Christmas. You start singing Jingle Bells in July and somebody's going to throw a shoe at you. That's just how it's going to happen. So, well, somebody else is going to say, well, I just love the Christmas lights. Well, okay, well, what's not to love about Christmas lights in the dark? So if you love the Christmas lights, then indeed keep them up all year. My next door neighbor up in Durango used to keep her Christmas tree up until Easter. And so if that's what you want to do, then go ahead and do that. It's perfectly fine. But none of this, and we know this, none of this is what we mean when we want to keep Christmas alive all year long. So this morning, I'm going to talk and I'm going to share with you exactly how to keep the spirit of Christmas alive all year long without July jingle bells. And to do that, we're going to look at 3 very different experiences of Christmas. So gather around the radio and let's get started, okay? Shepherds. That takes us immediately to the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2. It's very familiar, okay? Even if all you ever did was watch Charlie Brown Christmas, you're familiar with this. Because it's quoted in there with Linus. So let's get started. It never gets old. It is Christmas after all. Let's read it. Luke chapter 2, starting in verse 8. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were terribly afraid. And the angel said unto them, fear not. For behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which has come to pass, which the Lord hath made known unto us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph, and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all they that heard it wondered at the things which were told to them by the shepherds. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and seen as it was told unto them. Okay, there it is. Very familiar story, but still a very beautiful story, the shepherds and the angels. Now, it touches our hearts. Oh, it touches our hearts. But now, let's touch our minds. Does it say that the shepherds saw some amazing star that led them to the Christ child? No, it does not. There is nothing to suggest that the shepherds saw any miraculous star. Actually, it's just the opposite. Listen to what it says, okay? The shepherds were guarding the sheep. Now, it's business as usual for them. That's their job. And then verse 10, the angel says to them, I've come to bring you some good news. Verse 15, the shepherds say, let's go see the thing which the Lord hath made known to us. Verse 17, the shepherds told everyone what had been told to them. And in verse 20, the shepherds went home, went back to their job, amazed at all the things that had been told to them. In other words, the shepherds had no idea. Okay, they did not know what was happening, because at each step, the gospel story says, they were told. It was made known to them. It was revealed to them, or they would not have known. Within the clincher, they go back to being shepherds. Okay, they've encountered the light of God, but they've not changed, and so they go back to their jobs just like before. And many people today have that same kind of experience around Christmas. So the music is beautiful, and the colored lights are beautiful, and the decorated trees are beautiful, and maybe it's going to be a white Christmas, and it's beautiful, and the shepherds are beautiful, and it's all beautiful. Then we pack it in a box. Okay, we pack it in a box, we send it to the storage shed, the tree goes out with the trash, and it's January, and it's time to get back to work. And we encountered the beauty and the inspiration of Christmas, and we felt the spiritual elevation, but on the bottom line, it was just kind of an interruption in our routine. And we go back to being shepherds, abiding in the field and keeping watch over the flock by night, or we go back to our cubicle and keep watch over the computer or whatever, but it's business as usual, and Christmas is over. Now, let's look at the second experience of Christmas. It's very different because we got shepherds and wise men and Santa Claus. So in the first experience, the shepherds were told what was happening, and they were amazed, but they were not changed by it. So for the second experience of Christmas, we turn to another very familiar story, a very different story in the Gospel of Matthew. Again, very familiar, but it's Christmas, so let's listen. Matthew chapter 2. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king. I love reading that. It's so much fun. Listen. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. They said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it is written by the prophet, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee will come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star had appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child. And when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may worship him also. And when they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream, they departed into their own country another way. Okay, again, a passage that is very familiar, and pictures of the wise men are everywhere. And I guarantee if you go to the store and you look at Christmas cards, you're going to find one, you're going to find several that have the wise men and their camels and their gifts. I wish I could show this to you. I'm holding it up in front of the camera like you could see it. I got this card. I got this right here. I got this card from my brother and his wife in Florida yesterday, and it's got the wise men and the camels following a star. Okay, now it touches our hearts, but now let's touch our minds. Matthew says repeatedly that the wise men were from the east. This is important, okay? See, the Gospel of Matthew was written for a Jewish audience, and the Jewish audience would have instantly recognized the reference. The Jewish audience would have known that the phrase from the east was a direct reference to Genesis chapter 25, verse 6. We'll take notes, Genesis 25, 6. It says in reference to Abraham's children, it says, but unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away eastward into the east country. And their descendants then pop up in the Bible many times, and they are called the children of the east. In other words, they were the cousins of the Jews. You know the ones, the cousins back east. Everybody got cousins back east. And these cousins were well known for their wisdom. Okay, actually, the wisdom of the children of the East was considered sort of a benchmark. I mean, nobody could have more wisdom than that. And we remember Solomon, the king of Israel, was known to be a wise king. How wise was Solomon? Well, 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 30, Solomon's wisdom exceeded the wisdom of all the children of the East country. Now, did the wise men visit the Christ child lying in a manger? No. They visited him in a house. And they visited a young child, not a newborn. Okay? Now, quickly now, let's plan a road trip. From Babylon in the east to Jerusalem is nearly 1,700 miles. All right? A camel can walk 20 miles a day. And so you do the arithmetic, and it would have taken a man riding a camel nearly 3 months to cover that distance if they traveled 20 miles per day, every day, without stopping. And so this speaks to me of diligence and time and commitment. And the Jewish audience would have understood that there is no clear reference to any miraculous star in the Jewish scriptures. And I continue to believe that that miraculous star is far more likely to have been an inner spiritual experience, some inner knowing, or if you like, a disturbance in the force, because no one else saw it. The shepherds did not see it. King Herod did not see it. The priests and scribes did not see it. And no one in Jerusalem could see it, but the wise men from the East country did see it. So, led by their inner guidance, what was their experience with Christmas, and what does it teach us about keeping Christmas all year long? It's simple, okay? It's simple. It's so simple that it was such a seemingly casual remark that it's very easy to miss. The Gospel of Matthew says right at the very end of the story, they departed into their own country another way. there's the clue that that Jewish audience would probably have picked up on, because it is a reference to the book of Ezekiel the prophet, chapter 46, verse 9. And let's get the reading glasses on. Ezekiel 46:9 says, "But when the people of the land shall come before the Lord in the solemn feasts of the temple, he that entereth in by the way of the north gate to worship shall go out by way of the south gate. And he that entereth by way of the south gate shall go forth by way of the north gate. He shall not leave by way of the gate through which he came in, but shall go forth the opposite way." Simple formula. If you enter through the north gate, leave through the south. Enter through the south, leave through the north. It doesn't matter how you enter. Nobody cares. The point is, you have to leave opposite the way you came in. So to keep Christmas alive all year, we have to leave in the opposite way from the way we came in. In other words, we have to be changed inwardly. We have to have a change of consciousness because of our encounter with Christmas. See, if our hearts and minds are not changed, then there was no point in having the experience at all. Just pack up the decorations and put them in the box, send the tree out to the curb, and go back to tending our sheep. But when our hearts and minds are changed and transformed because of our spiritual encounter with the light, then we are going back to our lives in a different way from the way we came in. And we can keep that elevation always. See, the wise men were changed because of their encounter with the Christ child. The wise men were willing to put in the time and the effort and the commitment to find the Christ child, and their inner connection led them to get the help they needed, and then it took them the rest of the way. And unlike the shepherds who had the exact same encounter with the Christ child, but the shepherds were left unchanged. Wise men from the east went home different from the way they came. And that's the teaching for us this morning. You see, whether it's in prayer or spiritual reading or meditation or spiritual study or church on Sunday morning, whatever it is we do, however we enter into the light, we have to leave it different from how we arrived. Prayer and meditation and spiritual study in church share the same basic purpose, which is to change us and to transform our hearts and minds into something different. Okay? Something different. But what? Now, to answer this question, I need to tell you a story about my mom, a story now from very long ago. My mom saved historic newspapers. She wrapped them in dry cleaning bags and kept them in her cedar chest. And on December 7th, 1971, the 30th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, she opened the cedar chest and showed me her newspapers. Okay. Man walks on moon, July 1969. There was the newspaper. John Kennedy assassinated, November 1963. There was the newspaper. Japanese surrender, August 1945. There was the newspaper. And then we came to the oldest newspaper that she had. Extra, extra, read all about it, as they used to say. Special afternoon edition, Sunday, December 7th, 1941. And the headline read, Japs bomb Pearl Harbor. And I saw the dark and grainy photographs, and I read the real-time account of the attack of naval. And the newspaper was already yellow and brittle when I turned to page 2. And see, page 1 was a story of the moment the world changed. The world was at war. Essentially, the world was on fire. And I turned to page 2, and it was like this crazy dream. It was surreal. It was like a house of mirrors at the carnival. Something so out of place that I remember it vividly after the passage of a half century. Page 1 told the story of the end of the world, because it was the end of the world the way it was known then. But on page 2, Christmas was alive and well. And there was a display ad. It said, "Come to the Christmas parade downtown. Meet Santa Claus." Santa Claus shops at Curvin's department store, and that's where you should shop. See Santa Claus at Montgomery Ward's department store. Special prices just in time for Christmas. And the contrast between the end of the world on page 1 and Christmas time business as usual on page 2 just didn't make sense to me. And I've shared that story with you to take us up to our third experience of Christmas. Now, in the first experience, Luke chapter 2, the shepherds encountered the light of God after they were told about it, and they were amazed at what they heard, but they went back to their lives just the same as before. In the second experience, in Matthew chapter 2, the wise men followed their inner guidance with diligence and commitment until they encountered the light of God, and they returned home changed from the way they had arrived. But changed into what? And how does that help us keep the spirit of Christmas all year? Okay, so for the answer to that question, we're going to answer the question now. And we go to the third Christmas story in the Gospel of John. Okay, John chapter 3. This is a very short Christmas story, gets right to the point. And this verse is probably as familiar as Matthew and Luke, which we read earlier. The Christmas story in the Gospel of John is straight to the point. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave. Okay, now there's more to it than that. I know that. But right this morning, we're going to stop there. God so loved the world that he gave. See, the story of Christmas, the story of the spirit of Christmas is the story of giving. Okay, giving. What does that mean? Now, I don't mean the things we give out of obligation. I don't mean the things we give because we resent feeling forced to do it. And I don't mean the things we give because we'll look bad if we don't. But I'm talking about the things that we give, the things we give from our hearts out of love. And those things are not always things. It could be giving kindness or giving consideration. It could be putting someone else ahead of you in line. It could be giving your place or your chair to someone else. It could be giving a smile or giving a compliment. Perhaps giving a prayer for someone who's in pain. This is giving from our heart. The point is in the giving. And giving can also be money, and it can also be material things. And we like to excuse ourselves and we say, oh, well, if we give them money, they'll just use it for alcohol. If we give them money, they'll just use it for drugs. They'll just buy a pack of cigarettes. If we give them money, they'll just misuse it. And we excuse ourselves that way. And maybe they will misuse it. Maybe they don't deserve it. I don't know. But here's something I do know. I do know that God gives us life and light and hope and opportunity and time, whether we deserve it or not. God gives us love and blessings, even knowing that often we will misuse the time and opportunities that we've been afforded. But God gives them to us anyway. And the way to grow spiritually, the way to keep Christmas alive all year is to give and share, because that's what it's all about. The way to become wise people is to give outside your comfort zone. See, remember the shepherds went to look and they returned to their lives, and the wise men gave out of love and they were transformed. See, that's the beauty of it. The way out of chaos is to give. Like in the newspaper from December 7th, 1941, the world was at war on page 1, but on page 2, there was a very gentle reminder: give, share, be generous, and don't think about what you want to get back. And it's so sweet that we have a radio message this morning that's so perfect, because it's 1941 again. And I've come to believe that the reason that Santa Claus has become such an important part of our Christmas tradition is that Santa Claus reminds us to give. You see, it's not enough to go to the manger and worship. In order to make that elevation of consciousness last all year, in order to make it mean something, we have to give and share generously. Otherwise, we're just going to pack it in a box, store it away, and wonder why we just don't feel fulfilled. The spirit of Christmas is in the giving and in the sharing. So enjoy the music, enjoy the colored lights, enjoy the pretty decorations. Maybe it will be a white Christmas. I don't know. But the real meaning is to seek diligently for the divine child within ourselves, because that divine child is already there waiting for us. And then share the blessings, give the love generously in the way that we want God to give to us. That's the spiritual teaching of shepherds, wise men, and Santa Claus. And that's how to keep the spirit of Christmas alive all year long. So I'm very pleased to tell you, even though you can't see me, I'm pleased to tell you, happy solstice, blessed Christmas, and happy holidays to all of you.
Well, thank you, Mark. All right. You can see us, we can't see you, but we were applauding your message, and we appreciate your love that you have given and shared with us today. And such a timely and pertinent subject is really, really good. We really appreciate it. Okay, I can open up. Does anybody want to say anything to Mark besides Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Solstice?
Thank you, Mark. I really enjoyed your talk. I needed this.
Good.
And I also wanted to share something with you that, do you remember Vivian?
Yes.
She passed away from the virus. And I thought I would let you know, since you knew her.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh my, Vivian was such a blessing and such a joy.
She was. I loved her. Okay, but I really enjoyed your message, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, you're always incredible, and I really appreciate what you said, because you made us think. I mean, we just take the stories and we accept them, and we never look at them the way that you did. I mean, it was incredible. Thank you for opening our minds and looking at things in a totally new and different way. I really appreciated that.
Thank you, Susan. That means so very much coming from you, and I thank you. And you know, if it was the same way that you could see it everywhere else, there'd be no reason to come here.
She is very right, Mark. You know, that we know that symbols and allegory and all of the things that we see that are much, much deeper than we first see it in our initial glance. So thank you for helping us to take those stories even deeper. All right. Are you ready, Fred?
Freddie's ready.
Okay, let's go for it.
I was gonna do a pop song, but then I was thinking about it. I was listening to Mark and figured we'd do something nice and simple, something familiar. This is We Make Our Own World. We make our own world wherever we are. Our happiness is of our own making. We make our own world wherever we are. Our happiness then is for the taking. Well, our world goes with us as we walk and talk along each day. Our world can be a heaven or hell. Our attitudes will say, 'cause we make our own world wherever we are. Our happiness is of our own making. We make our own world wherever we are. Wanna make it happy? Let's live in beauty. We make our own world wherever we are. Happiness is of our own Make it.
Thank you. Did you have another one or is that it?
If you want another one.
Oh, it's up to you, Fred. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, there is another song. This is a Counting Crow song. It's called Omaha. Start tearing the old man down, run past the heather and down to the old road. Stop turning the grain into the ground, roll a new leaf over. In the middle of the night, there's an old man shredding around in a bucket of rain. Mister, if you're gonna walk on water, you should drop a line my way. Omaha, someone in middle America, get right to the heart that matters. It's the heart that matters more. I think you better turn your ticket in. Get your money back at the door. Oh, it's Omaha Sunday morning. Start threading the needle, rush past the heather and down to the cold road. Start turning the wool across the wire, roll a new leaf over. In the middle of the night, there's an old man threading his toes in a bucket of rain. Hey, mister, you don't wanna walk on water, 'cause you know you're on the walk all over me. Omaha, somewhere in a little America, right to the heart that matters. It's the heart that matters more. So you better turn your ticket in. Get your money back at the door. Oh, it's Omaha Sunday morning. Running the banner down, drop past the color and ride through the summer rain. Stop turning the girl into the ground, roll a new leaf over. In the middle of the day, there's a young man rolling around in the earth that rain. A little man is gonna walk on water. Don't you know you're gonna walk all over me? Omaha, somewhere in the middle America, get right to the heart that matters. It's the heart that matters more. I think you better turn your ticket in. Get your money back at the door. Oh, it's Sunday morning. I'm coming home today.
All right. Thank you,
Omaha.
Fred. Thank you. All right.
My pleasure.
Good. Thank you. Well, as has been mentioned today, this is our last full meeting before Christmas, which is next Saturday. And so, we'll still have our Course in Miracles on Wednesday. Is that correct, Susan? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, we have such wonderful, deep conversations about just how to perceive things differently and how to become better people. It makes it life so much easier.
You'll still have your meeting this coming Wednesday, correct?
As far as I know, I'll be there.
Okay, so we will have our Wednesday, and our Power of Eight meeting will be on Thursday. Is that correct, Margaret?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just really proud of both of our meetings. They're just really accomplishing a lot in the spiritual world. As we pray for people in Power of Eight, and as we gain an understanding and closeness in our Course in Miracles group, and both are just quality endeavors, and I'm very proud of them both. And the ladies who run them you're just a blessing to all of us, and we appreciate it. We don't always express that, but we do appreciate your efforts to organize and be there consistently and keep the place open. We really thank you. I would like to mention again that Neva Hildebrand was taken to the hospital this morning with heart complications. We have had no word since 8:30 this morning. I've not talked to Dawn, but she was conscious, and she was, it wasn't, he didn't say that she had a heart attack. She has AFib, and they monitor that real often. And the numbers just weren't lining up this morning. So Don called an ambulance and had her taken into the hospital. And our hospital is on lockdown. If you don't have to be there, they don't let you go in and people to visit. So Don has no idea of how she was doing when I talked to him this morning at 8:30. I'll call him after our meeting here and see if maybe he has learned anything else. But keep Neva, our sister Neva, in your prayers, especially for the next few days. Okay. And because it never hurts to add our energy to someone who is in distress. No matter what that distress is, to add our energy helps them, and it helps us. As we help others, it helps us. So be sure and keep her in your thoughts, prayers. Keep all of spirit of fellowship of spirit in your thoughts and prayers. It may seem like we are struggling. We are not struggling. We are thriving. And as this time of the year comes where we get less and less light down to the time that we have the longest night and the shortest day, it is actually the next day is a rebirth, and the sun comes back. And the energy returns to the earth. And that is a cycle that happens in nature every year. It also happens in organizations. The dynamic organization breathes in and breathes out. It gets smaller and it grains, and it breathes and it goes and gets bigger and smaller. And, we've had this COVID thing that has forced us to not be able to be together it's going on 2 years now. And, but we haven't disappeared. And our relationships are stronger today because of our ability to be on Zoom and to think of one another from a distance. And so as we approach this time of the solstice, when our day is the shortest and our night is the longest, and there's less light than there is, just think about this being a brand new beginning and a brand new time when our fellowship is going to grow, and we're going to grow in our relationship. We're going to grow fonder of one another as this next year comes upon us. Okay, so that's what I think. I do not worry about us ceasing to exist or anything. Fellowship of Spirit will continue. We will continue, and we will continue to thrive, and we will get back in our building, and we will be able to hug each other and see each other's faces and talk to one another. And I think that is going to happen soon. When? I have no idea. Soon is a relative thing. You know, soon could be next week. It could be 10 years from now in the grand scheme of things, because in the grand scheme of things, if you live to be 110 years old, it's only like that in eternity. So this, once we get back in there, and we will look back on this time as having passed quickly. When we were in it, it seemed to pass slowly. So anyway, Merry Christmas to everyone. I will be sending out a Christmas letter here this next week to everyone, to let everyone know where we are in the church, and to just as holiday greetings. I will be sending it out on Conscious Contact. So look for that in your email. Are there any other announcements? Jenny, does your singing group are they not going to have a program this year?
I don't think Jenny's online right now.
Is she not? Okay.
No, but I do want to take the opportunity to thank Mark for not only his fireside chat theme today, but also for the grand tradition of sending out his Christmas letter. Jenny and I have really enjoyed it. And for those of you that got it, it's got a tremendous reading list on it. So thank you, Mark, so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. So I am told that people really, for some reason, look forward to seeing my reading list. So anyway, for what it's worth, there it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mark. I received mine also, and I read it, and I enjoyed it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
More than welcome.
Well, it's time to close then and get on with our business of being merry and happy and joyful, and recognizing the Christ energy in one another. So, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your means of bringing us together and allowing us to share in this time of message and hope, of hope and joy and wisdom. We thank you for that. We thank you for Brother Mark as he's in Kentucky, far from us, but he's just right next door. And we appreciate that. We love him and miss him. We ask that you would bless and touch our sister Neva as she is in a hospital in distress today. We ask that you would give her what she needs according to your will and your estimation of what she needs. We don't know what she needs, but we just know that in your wisdom and light and love, that you will give her exactly what she needs. And we ask that you would watch over the Fellowship of Spirit, all of the people connected and all of the people they are connected to, all the people that we love, to allow them to be able to share in this joyous time of year, this time of rebirth and happiness and joy. So in the name of the Christ consciousness, amen. Namaste. All right.